All right, everybody, in this last video, we're going to talk about target selection. This is the last video in the fundamental section, but it's very, very critical that you understand exactly how to target at first, and then how you're going to build up over time in the more advanced videos that you'll see later on. So right now we're going to be talking about getting a core audience. We're going to target using market segmentation. Now, I had a targeting course called AI Targeting System that came out not too long ago, and it covered the basics of this. But as time goes on and as we spend more money, things advance, and our understanding advances. Facebook itself advances, and we have to evolve with the changing times. So this is going to be an up-to-date version of that and how exactly I target in my business. We're going to focus on the AI tool, which is the Audience Insights tool. It's a free tool inside of Facebook that is basically a window into all the data that Facebook gathers on the back end where you don't actually see. And we will go outside of Facebook if need be. But no one knows Facebook better than Facebook. I've been saying that for months now, probably over a year. So we're going to utilize that as much as possible. Now we're going to narrow to our core audience for testing, and then scale out as you sell. Why would you go broad on something that's not proven? Why would you go broad if you're brand new into a niche? We're going to test a product within a niche that is contained in our new store. Okay? We're going to market test our product first. We have key indications along the way. We picked a product that is already sold on another medium, maybe eBay, maybe AliExpress. And now we're going to test that with paid traffic on Facebook. An essential thing that you have to remember is that if you're doing paid traffic, it's a little bit different than, say, eBay. eBay has its own ranking system, and you might get a lot of traffic for free. And then doing that might make selling one product easy, right? It might be able to get that product to be sold, and you make a profit off of it. However, you take that same product and you move it over to a paid traffic outlet. If you don't have the ability to convert traffic into a buyer at a reasonable rate to make money off of the item, then it's going to exclude itself from being able to be sold via paid traffic. So it's not the same thing. So what we're doing is testing something that worked on an external source, like eBay, AliExpress, Amazon, and then moving that into a paid traffic system that we're developing on our store, right? So that's the key difference to understand. We need to test it first and then move out. Market segmentation, in the traditional sense, involves these four things: location, demographics, psychographic, and behavioral. So what do those mean? So location obviously is self-explanatory. Demographics, your age, gender, ethnicity, occupation, things that describe who you are as a human being. Psychographic is your values and your lifestyle. Think again of Mountain Dew with a gamer, the gamer lifestyle. The values, think about conservative people or liberal people or Christian or not. And then we have behavioral. Think about the patterns people have in their lives. Think about the price sensitivity they might have. Some people will buy something at $5.99, but they wouldn't buy it at $6.99. Companies adjust themselves to accommodate this. Think about how many different types of cars there are that are relatively the same with minor differences. Think of Nissan. You got a Nissan Altima, you got a Nissan Maxima. They're kind of the same car, but you have one that's a little bit more beefed up than the other one. And that hits two different types of people. If they just had the Maxima, they lose all the sales that they had available for the Altima. And when you're starting off in Shopify, if you're coming from the t-shirt world like me, I've sold tons of products to my core niches that are in the $19.99 to the $24.99 range, the t-shirts. So the first thing I did when I created my stores, the logical thing for me to do was to hit a lower price point and an above price point. I wanted to go either really low or really high because I already had the t-shirts handled. And I moved in t-shirts as well, but when getting your store started, you could easily just hit people with the same targeting that you did before with something that's $9.99 and not necessarily $24.99. So Facebook user segmentation, different than consumer segmentation, traditional, is location. That's still, you still have to figure out where you want to sell, for in most cases in the United States. Demographics, you have age, gender, platform, and interest. Now over here, you had occupation and hobbies would be included here. Interest is going to include all those things. And the behavioral, you'll have interest build, and we'll talk about that here more in a second. But price sensitivity is a concern for us, and I just kind of explained that. But you can't adjust your targeting around price sensitivity. You can use some of that third-party data to get people who have higher incomes, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to buy your product at a higher rate. If you're going to sell higher priced items, you can do that and adjust some of your targeting. But we like to go over millions and millions of people, so your targeting is going to relatively be the same. And you wouldn't necessarily bake your price into the targeting. So let's go over the shoulder here. Now we're talking about the Audience Insight tool. And all this is you go to your ads manager and you press the button that says Audience Insights. It's going to be in your navigation bar. And now we're here and we're back with our firefighter, right? And we looked and justified why, if we're going to sell something to a firefighter, why we would go after men, right? Because there's more men firefighters than there are females. Even though the audience was skewed towards females, we had to define who our avatar was that we're actually going after. And that was the male firefighter. For now, if you have something that works, maybe target women later. But we're market testing, remember? So now I want to talk to you about something about getting this really refined. And right here you can see we have 12%, 21%, 22%, and so on here. And you have this 65 and above is 8%. Now my rule here is that anything at 10% is not at 10% or above gets eliminated from the core testing. So in this instance, I would basically segment out anything above 65 years old. So that's going to reshape everything here. And these numbers are pretty solid, right? We have 2.5 to 3 million monthly active people. So here's 13% of that audience being here. That's going to have a good chunk of people in it, right? And it's going to have plenty for us to target in a specific segmented ad. So what I want to do now is I'm at a top level, and I'm going to go over to the Page Likes tab. And what I want to focus on is this down here. And you can see that the affinity score over here is in the teens, roughly a little higher, maybe a few lower. But we have some decent numbers here. What your target is about 20x to really get into your audience and limit those likes by association. Affinity is how likely someone is, and at a top level, how likely somebody is who likes this interest to like this interest. That's what affinity means. Now you can see I'm sorted by relevancy. That's a mixture of the audience and the affinity. It gives me the relevancy. You can see that this has got a higher affinity than this one. Even though it's a smaller audience, it gets bumped to number 1. But some of the ones down here, like this one, huge audience, right? But the affinity is lower. So it's number 6. So that's something to pay attention to. So now I want to talk about what to do next. And we're going to start talking about interest builds. Interest build is a term that I use to describe how interest become developed. How do they form on Facebook, right? Because not all interests are created in the exact same way. Some of these pages were built by people like us, marketers. Some of these interests were built by actual corporations who have tons of traffic outside of Facebook. So at a top level, we're going to understand this to make sure that we utilize that information when it comes to the product lifecycle videos that you'll see later on. So right now, what we want to do is look for what I like to call either brick and mortar or virtual interests that have presences outside of Facebook. Okay? They were first formed outside of Facebook, and then somebody said, hey, you need to make a fan page. And then they made a fan page. And they're not necessarily the best people at updating that fan page, perhaps. But it's big, it's vibrant, and they might have some interaction, but that's not necessarily the thing that we're worried about. If you remember back when I said traditional consumer segmentation, one of the things here is brand loyalty. Brand loyalty is represented in Facebook off things like this. Firehouse.com. This is a website that created a Facebook fan page. Now, it has 365,000 people who like it. However, 45 people, 58 people, 79 people. The engagement on this fan page isn't the best. Marketers know how to play the system. This might be a very legit company who gets a ton of traffic outside of Facebook. However, they don't know how to market on Facebook. And maybe they don't have the resources in order to market, the proper way. And they just have somebody that posts stuff on their fan page, and they know they need to do it. I hope that makes sense for you. So what we're going to do is rely on the fact that someone who is a firefighter and within the community of firefighters liked this website. They went to this website. They maybe saw a button to like their fan page. Maybe they got a newsletter, and in that newsletter there was a button to like the fan page, and then they liked the fan page. Also, Facebook is really, really good at suggesting, you should probably like this page. Now, Facebook is smart and knows that Firehouse.com is pretty legit and that needs to have a firefighter like it. So maybe it serves it up to actual firefighters, people who list firefighter in their job title, and so on and so forth. So that's how these pages get built. Now, I Support Firefighters is a fan page that was built by a marketer. He ran an ad, more than likely a PPE ad or a website conversion ad, and people liked that fan page through that, for the most part. So they were built in two different ways. This guy, who doesn't know how to post content to get more than 100 likes, even though he has 365,000 people that like his page, is probably not running ads. This interest was built through loyalty. So let's go back, and I'm going to dive deeper into the niche. By using that interest and removing the original interest. Now, all of my affinity has gone through the roof. Now I have way above 20. Now I have tons of interest. Yes, some of these might have been on the other screen that we just had, but it's not about what is on here. It's about what was removed. We want all the crap and the noise to be removed, and we want what's left to be the core interests for us to go after. So, you can see that Firehouse.com is the number 1 here, of course. And then we have tons of great, everything on here says fire. And we are going to use these interests in the coming sections once we get our store built and once we're going to start running ads. So that's how we refine our audience. We're going to find a core, and then we're going to list these. Maybe write them down, maybe just keep this window open, or just remember the process that you got to get here and keep it for the videos coming up in the product lifecycle sections. Okay? So let's move on and out of the fundamentals and into the core and the meat of this course, where we start getting our MVP model store up. Okay? Thanks. Talk to you in the next video.